Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Dancing with the Stars. Oh, wait, that's my other AJ's YouTube. Now that we got that figured out, today is Monday, it's Deck Profile Day, so that's what we got right here, and I'm sure you can tell by, this first card right here, you can tell exactly what we're playing. Tenacity of the Monarchs. Yeah, that's right. We've got ourselves a couple of Monarch cards here. We are going to kind of skim through this and just discuss the Monarchs. You know what I'm saying? So first off, we are running two of the there's a lot of bosses in this deck, but the two kind of mains, and then we have two of their offshoots, kind of the card that brings them out in the first place. So 2-2-2-2. I've seen three of all of these, if you really want to nail down that you're just going for this. But there's no extra deck to this. The way that I run this, there's no extra deck. You're just using mainly magic and trap cards to gain advantages in trying to tribute summon. The whole deal with Monarchs is you want to tribute summon for the effects. Like if you tribute a monster, sometimes when you tribute a monster with a tributed monster, you gain extra effects. So they're all over the board with different effects here. I don't know, you know what, before we even get to the monsters, I kind of want to go through magic and trap. So, with the Monarchs Erupt, you can activate this card only if you have no cards in your extra deck. Not that hard, there's no extra deck here. And you control a tribute summoned monster, which won't be that hard most of the time. You're going to have one of them on the board. So, negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field while those monsters are face-up on the field, except the tribute summon monsters. And during your end phase, if you control no tribute summon monster, send this card to the graveyard. That's a continuous spell. So as long as you got a tribute summon monster, you can negate all other face-up monsters on the field. So that's pretty dope. Pinpoint guard is kind of something you're going to just use to get a monster back, and then you can tribute him off on the next turn if, you need to do that. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, target one level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. So you're basically getting away with, a turn. You're basically going to have a monster to tribute off of on your next turn, and you're not going to be able to lose the game because you got this monster out there protecting you. Punch in the Box. God, I haven't read this card in a very long time. Let's see. When your opponent's monster declares an attack while they control two or more monsters, target the attacking monster, negate that attack, and if you do, send one other monster they control to the graveyard. Then the targeted monster loses attack equal to the original attack or defense, whichever is higher, of the sent monster to the graveyard permanently. That just stays. So they come at you with a couple 3,000 monsters. You get to stop that attack, take this monster's attack, minus it from this one, and then junk that one. Works for me, man. That's a good effect right there. Once again, you're just trying to last turns to get more and more tribute summon monsters. Dark Factory of more production. You can send one monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, draw one card. It's just recycling cards. Let's say you have, a couple lower level cards in your hand and you need something bigger. You're fishing with this guy. Send something to the graveyard, do something else. There's also a patrol monster or whatever I have that I would love to pitch off, because when I banish it from the graveyard, you get to special summon. So Shape Sister, you're going to use this card special summon this card as a normal monster. You're just basically going to bring this out just so you can tribute it off for another monster. So that's what you're going to use cards like this for. There's a whole bunch of them. You can use any of them. Once per turn during your opponent's main phase or your opponent's battle phase, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, tribute summon one monster. Another continuous spell. So every single time your opponent's main phase kicks in, you just tribute. You know what I mean? That is amazing. The Prime Monarch, another card you can special summon onto the field. You can target 2 Monarch once per turn. You can target 2 Monarch spell or trap cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 1 other Monarch spell or trap from your graveyard and special summon this card in defense position as a normal monster. Level 5, 1000 attack, 2400 defense. So it's a card recycler. You get to draw cards by putting cards back in your deck, and you can bring this on the field as a monster. The first Monarch. We got 1 secret rare and 1 common. Special summon this card as an effect monster. It's got 1000 attack, 2400 defense. If summoned this way, you can discard 1 card, then declare 1 attribute. This card becomes that attribute and can be treated as 2 tributes for the summon, or for the tribute summon of a monster with the same attribute as this card here. If this card was summoned this way, you can special summon. You cannot special summon monsters except monsters with this card's attribute. So you're kind of blocked out for the rest of the turn, but most of the monsters in here are dark, I believe. Yeah, most of them are dark and white. So you're gonna pick which way you want to go that route. We got 2 Swords of Revealing Light. We're basically trying to last turns. I've already explained that. 3 Restoration of the Monarch. An equipped card. Activate this by targeting 1 monster in your graveyard with 2400 attack or 1000 defense, or 28 and 1000. Special summon it in defense mode, but negate its effects. Also equipped it with this card. And then when this card leaves the field, destroy that card. When the equipped monster, the equipped monster can be treated as 2 tributes for a tribute summon. So, it's basically a monster reborn / you get some extra effects out of it. Domain of the True Monarchs, a field spell for this deck. While you have no cards in your extra deck and you control only, or you are the only player that controls a tribute summon monster, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. If a tribute summon monster you control attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 800 attack during damage calculation only, I believe. Let's see here. During damage calculation only once per turn, you can reduce the level of 1 monster with 2800 attack and 1000 defense in your hand by 2 until the end of this turn. So if you do have somebody, let's see, 28 and 1000. So this guy would drop from an 8 down to a 6, huh? Okay, so you could special summon them out. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to throw a terraforming in this deck. So yeah, there you go. Got your domain. I do not have a terraforming in here, I believe. Nope. So I gotta put one in. Here is a March of the Monarchs. Tribute summoned monsters you control cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. You cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck. That is a great card. 2 Pantheism. I would be running 3. I just don't have 3. Send 1 Monarch spell card from your hand to the graveyard. Draw 2 cards. This thing is incredible. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Reveal 3 Monarch spell and traps from your deck. Your opponent chooses 1 for you to add to your hand, and you shuffle the rest back in your deck. The Monarchs Storm Force. You got 3 of them. once during this turn, if you would tribute a monster you control for a tribute summon, you can tribute one monster your opponent controls as if you controlled it. It's almost like a super poly. If they got something out there, you just tribute that shit away. Problem solved. You can only activate one of these per turn. During the turn you activate this card, you cannot special summon from your extra deck. Once again, no extra deck. Return of the Monarch, or Return of the Monarchs. You can special summon monsters. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. When you tribute summon a monster, you can activate one of these effects. So every single time you tribute summon, you can do one of these. Add from your deck to your hand one monster with 2400 attack or 1000 defense with a different name from the tribute monster. And number 2, add from your deck to your hand one monster with 28 or 1000 with a different name from the tribute summon monster. The tribute summon monster must be face up on the field to activate and resolve this effect. So that's a continuous spell. You get to pop this out there, and every single time you tribute summon a monster, you get to start adding cards to your hand. Pretty damn effective. Tenacity of the Monarchs. Reveal one monster in your hand with 2400 and 1000 or 28 and 1000. Add one Monarch spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which most likely, you got a hell of a lot of spells and traps with Monarch in the name or in the phrase somewhere. So, you got a lot to choose from. That is going to be our Magic and Trap. Now, we have Mobius the Mega Monarch, 2800 and 1000. Almost all of these monsters in here will have either 28 or 24. They fit the bill, you know what I mean? I think even these bosses, 28 and 1000. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome that all these work together. Here's one, 24 and 1000. But let's read a little bit. You can tribute summon this card by tributing one tribute summoned monster. When this card is tribute summoned, you can target 3 spell and traps on the field, destroy those targets. If this card is tribute summoned by tributing a water monster, add this additional effect. Your opponent cannot activate the targeted cards in response to this card's effect of destroying them. So we got 2 of them. Now we got a Fire Monarch. This one is, when it's tribute summoned, discard one random card from your opponent's hand. If it was a monster card, inflict damage 1000 or 100 points times its level. That's pretty damn handy. We got ourselves a Rainbow Karibo. You can pitch this card off. Let's see, an opponent's monster declares tag. You can target that monster. Equip this card from your hand to that target. It cannot attack anymore. Or when they do a direct attack, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. If summoned this way, banish it when it leaves the field. So that's what that does. Here's the patrol card. If it's destroyed by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original level of that monster. Oh, never mind. That's if this destroys it. You can hurt them, burn damage, whatever. This is what I use. You can banish this card from your graveyard and special summon one fiend monster with 2000 or less attack from your hand. So you're basically going to be doing the smaller monsters, like if you want to special summon, well, that's a spellcaster. There's the fiend ones. That can't be the only one. If it is, that card's gotta go. Huh, I must have changed this up and not paid attention. Yep, alright, this card's gotta go. It definitely does not work in this deck anymore. Nope. Nope. It's only a Karibo and a Lucius the Shadow Vassal. No. So this is getting taken out and a terraforming's going in. So now we're just gonna look at this card like this. Hey, look, a terraforming. because that's what it's gonna be. Yep, nope. Alright, Watchdog. During your main phase 2, if this card was normal summoned this turn, you can send one spell from your hand to the graveyard to set a continuous spell directly from your deck. This comes in handy a lot. You definitely want to see stuff like this so you can set your Monarch continuous spells that are going to give you a super advantage. There's also a caveat here. You cannot special summon during the turn you activate this effect, but you're tribute summoning most of the time, so it's really not going to affect you. Mithra, the Thunder Vassal. This one is going to be fun. Okay, if this card is in your hand, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. Also special summon this card, and if you do, special summon one Vassal token to your opponent's side of the field in defense position. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can activate this effect. You can tribute summon one monster during your main phase this turn, in addition to your normal summon slash set this turn. You can only gain this effect once per turn. So you get to special summon them out. You're giving your opponent a token on the on their side of the field, unfortunately, but could be worse. Now we got a Chaos, the Shadow Monarch. If this card is tribute summoned, target one card in the field and banish that target, and if you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent if it was a dark monster. Escher, the Frost Vassal. If your opponent controls 2 or more cards in their spell and trap zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. A Gurum, the Storm Vassal. You can return one tribute summon monster you control to the hand. Special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can add one monster with 800 attack and 1,000 defense from your deck to your hand. Except for this card, which, that's pretty nice. You can go ahead and get yourself one of these, whichever one. So you almost kind of want to see 3 of these in the deck. There's just, I didn't have multiple structure decks when I picked this up, but some of these are stronger than other ones. So you kind of want to, lean into those. But I've got almost every single one that came in this structure deck in here for the different abilities. But if you're going to play meta, definitely a good 10 of the cards in this deck, probably 15 of them would get taken out and replaced with just doubles and triples of all of these. Let's see. We have a Berlineth, the Firestorm Vassal. You can discard one card, special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from that deck for the rest of this turn. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can look at your opponent's hand and banish one card from their hand until the end phase. You can only use each effect once per turn. Here's another one you'd probably want to do at least two, but probably 3, because if you can pull this in your first hand and be able to pop a card out of your opponent's hand so they can't really do anything to you, that'd be kind of cool. Zaborg, the Thunder Monarch. This card is tribute summon, target one monster in the field, destroy that target. Pretty plain and simple. The Land Rogue, the Rock Vassal. If this card is in your hand, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. Also special summon this card, and if you do, change that monster to face-down defense position. So whatever monster you targeted is basically getting Book-a-Mooned. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can target one monster with 800 and 1,000 in your graveyard. Add it to your hand. Riza, the Storm Monarch. If this card is tribute summoned, target one card on the field, place that target on the top of the deck. And lastly but not leastly, you can banish one level 5 or higher monster from your graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can look at all set cards your opponent controls. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation, and you can only use each effect once per turn. You can look at every single card they have face down. Magic, trap, monster, doesn't matter. If it's a set card, you get to look at it because of this card. That is a huge gain of knowledge. So, there you have it. These all work in unison together. All the magic and trap work with all of these. They basically just make it to where you can tribute for effects on top of effects on top of effects, and you get out stronger and stronger monsters, whether it be 24 or 28, which, you know, with all of the effects and stuff that you gain through all these cards, they won't have a lot of cards out there. You'll also be able to take cards out of their hand, know what they had on the field. You have so many advantages coming from all different directions that, yeah, you might cap off at a 2800 monster, but even if they had something stronger, you'll just either bounce it to the top of their deck, destroy it, banish it. You have so many options. Or put it face down in defense mode and run it over that way. You have so many options. It's kind of absurd. Now, this is a pure Monarch build. If I really, really, really wanted to make this thing stronger, I still would not have an extra deck. But I would change out some of these cards for staple cards, or just something that would, you know, probably mesh good with this. Hand traps, stuff like that, anything like that. I'd probably pop a couple of those in here, but this really is, you know, Monarchs. It's just Monarchs. There's maybe, you know, 5 cards in here that don't say Monarch on them. All the rest of them, Monarch, 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 Monarch. So, yeah, that is the Monarch build for Monday. I also have just a few sides here. If you wanted to run 3 of all of these, like I said, we have a Chaos the Shadow Monarch. It's kind of an oldie. When this card's tribute summoned, remove from play 1 card on the field, and if it was a dark monster, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. I think this one's a little different than the other one. Remove from play 1 card. Maybe the other one says, what, banish or something? Mobius, the Frost Monarch. This one is a different Mobius. When this card is tribute summoned, you can target 2 spell and traps on the field, destroy those targets. Here's a Rock Monarch. Target 1 set card on the field, destroy that target. A Rainbow Dark Dragon and Mistake. Neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand except by drawing them. These were cards that used to be in the deck a while ago. Obviously you could tell some of the age on some of these, but not anymore. I just throw them in the box just because they used to be part of it, but they're probably never going back in. Just like this guy is also not going back in, so I can de-sleeve him now, so I am reminded to put a terraforming in. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of Pure Monarchs, my little take on the deck. So, thank you. I end my turn.